All right, so here we have it. Are you ready? Here is training. We're gonna do 5 minutes of training. Ready? Index finger goes on the frame. Hand opens up and touches the table. Notice my thumb is below where the slide would be if it were able to lock back. That's it. Index finger on the frame. Hands open up. Touch the table below. That's it. That is your first one. Ready to do it one more time? Index finger on the frame above the trigger guard. Open up your hand. Touch the table. Now, the next part's going to be a little tricky for me to video while I'm holding the phone. So I'm not quite sure how to do that. So we're going to pause for a second here. Okay, we're going to try this, see how this works. All right, so index finger, frame, open your hand, touch the table. That is your first one. We've done what, 3-4 reps in this first minute? So now the next thing you do is you start here and you just go with left hand, picks up the back, squeeze my thumb, make sure I'm holding on enough with our left hand so I can push my palm all the way up the grip, and then fingers wrap around the front. However, you can break this down into even smaller pieces. So index finger, touch the table. Start there. Left hand picks up, thumb wraps around, hold on. Make sure you push this as high as possible on the grip. And then just go back to this starting position. So you're not doing everything every single time. You're starting from somewhere and just doing the next step. So left hand picks up, thumb pinches, hold on to the gun, slide as far up on the grip as you can, and then put it back down. So each one of the pieces of the grip, you just practice the piece that makes sense to you versus trying to do all of it at the same time. So ready? So I'm going to start where I left off. So my thumb wrapped around to make sure my V is under the slide. My hand is as high on the grip as the gun will allow me to go. So now the last thing I do is fingers wrap around and then I pick up. So I can go back down. I have my thumb is as high as it can go. Fingers wrap around, it feels secure. I take my left hand off, I pick up. Go back. Index finger, left hand is here, push up, wrap fingers around as the last thing that happens. Left hand off, pick up. So that's how you break your pieces up. So that's 3 minutes of me explaining it to you. You can get a bunch of reps done relatively quickly just by doing this. Index finger, touch. Index finger, touch, right? And then start with touching the table, making sure your thumb is under where the slide would be. Left hand picks up, thumb, squish up. Make sure that if your hand is really far forward, your thumb actually brings your palm back before you push up as high as you can on the grip. And just start from here. Left hand picks up, thumb squeezes around, and play with your hands a little bit to make sure that you're getting that V in there where your thumb and index finger come together and that it's nice and steady. And then the real trick here is making sure the very last thing you do is fingers wrap around and then pick up. Because here's the deal. The reason you're doing this in little tiny pieces is because we want to grab everything. We just want to put our hands on here, grab that whole stinking thing all at the one time, because that's what our hands naturally want to do. But if we do index finger, open hand, touch, then we're retraining our brain to not just grab the whole thing. So index finger, open hand, touch the table that it's on while your hand scoops up, thumb wraps around, and then fingers lock in because they lock you in. If you've been to the class, you understand that this is how we get locked in, which is why we want to make sure everything is where it belongs before we let those guys wrap around the grip itself. So there is just picking up the gun from the table.